Hello, I'm Jim Manning. I've been a Kennedy researcher for over 50 years. I'm the author of Patriotism Unhinged, available worldwide through online retailers. One of the things that I'd like to talk about today is that of Robert Turnbull Crowley, known as the Crow in the CIA. He was the deputy director of clandestine operations and also referred to as the Dirty Tricks Club. He was one of the very top guys in the CIA, and he had been in the CIA since the end of the Second World War, where he was with the OSS. He was the tallest man in the CIA. He was 6'6". He had been at the military academy at West Point, and I think he did 3 years there. And then he enlisted in the service to go to the Pacific for the Second World War. He never wanted to have his picture taken. And so there are very, very few pictures of him. We do have one, and that's the one that almost everybody has. He's at a shooting jacket, and I think it's even when he was at West Point. He was involved right at the start in what's called Operation Zipper. Operation Zipper was the code name for the assassination of President Kennedy and his brother, Robert Kennedy. The CIA felt that he had committed treason, and probably under the law, he may have committed treason. However, it was not the kind of treason that would substantiate a killing of somebody. It was a back channel with Premier Khrushchev, and it settled a lot of problems. However, if we go back in time to 1961, the trouble between him and Dulles, Allen Dulles, where Allen Dulles tried to fake him out on planes for the Bay of Pigs, and he caught Dulles red-handed. He fired Dulles, and even so that he was fired, the top echelon of the CIA still remained very, very loyal to Dulles. Even the new director was on very close terms with him. He probably was the one they were asking what they should do about what they had found out about the Kennedys. Robert Crowley was the guy who was keeping all of the records of what was going on. For example, the minutes of the meetings. The meetings were 63, and they lasted sometimes for 20 minutes, and sometimes they lasted for 2 hours. But he did keep a rough record of what they discussed at the meetings. And the final meeting actually happened on the 22nd of December after the assassination, which was just like a tie-up thing. He continued on with his relationship with the CIA into the 80s, and it became apparent to him at some point in time that his grandchildren and their children and so forth, with the name Crowley, it might have a deleterious effect on them, that they were related to the man, one of the people who was responsible for the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. He thought about it and decided that he would come up with a writer that he liked and trusted to give all of the information, the evidence, the paperwork, the minutes, any documents that were necessary in the planning and in the execution of the plan. He had them put away. He removed them from Langley, and he was careful not to keep them at home. He also was careful not to put them in a storage facility, which is the first place they look for things. But he did hide them somewhere, and it was his intention to make a relationship with a writer who would, upon his own death, Robert's death, write a book. And the reason he wanted the book written was not to admit to his part in the assassination, but to take credit for it. It's a little hard to understand, but they believed that what they were doing was the work of patriots. They believed that they had to do it, and probably were even further convinced by, and I have no proof of the contact with Dulles, but I expect that he was very important in coming to that conclusion. The first gentleman that he decided to consider was an Englishman, and he liked his writing, and he thought he was a pretty nice fella. Unfortunately, he was a gay man, and he died from AIDS, and so he had to move on. The next guy that he went to was a guy by the name of Trento. Trento has been writing several books, I think, on the CIA, and had a good, heavy connection there. He did talk with him quite a bit, and even maybe promised him that whenever he was, when he died, he would give him all the stuff that was in his house. He realized that Trento's relationship with the CIA was so close that he would probably, instead of writing the book, he would probably make an arrangement with the whoever the director was at that time to give them all the information and use that as a catalyst to get closer to them, to get more information, to write more books about the CIA. He decided that that would probably be the wrong guy, and he moved on, and he found Gregory Douglas. Now, he knew about Gregory Douglas because Gregory Douglas, very hard to explain Gregory Douglas. He was a James Bond kind of a guy, but he didn't work for anybody but himself. He was born in Germany. He was associated with a lot of intelligence agencies, including the CIA. He talked to him by phone because geographically they were separated quite a bit. And so he talked with him by phone for 4 years. Eventually, those talks were taped. They amount to about 11 hours. There's 2 tapes that you could get. One is, I think, 11 hours, and one is 4 hours. The 4 hours is probably more important than the 11 hours because that's at the end. It gets very specific. And anyway, those are available on Kindle. And the book, which is not available anywhere, was called Conversations with the Crow. It was his hope that he would be able to explain in the book that there was no way that they could let Kennedy continue on because it would take protracted a period of time to go through the legal aspects of it, and what he could do if he continued on would be unconscionable. So they decided at that meeting that they were going to kill him. There's a document. The document is included in my book. It's a policy statement of the CIA and what they plan to do with Operation Zipper. Coming up, we'll give you a video on the statement of policy.